Hello, I'm Jochen Schleser, founder of Saddlefit for Life. Today I'm talking about the saddle girth. Now, the saddle girth is a very important part of the saddle accessories. It comes in many different shapes, length, styles, with elastic, without elastic. Also, it is often influenced with sponsorship, marketing. But the question is that the right girth for your horse? Now, for example, we know that we have a girth which is really wide in the middle, would be really good for weight-bearing surface. But what if you have a horse what has a very small girth groove? That wouldn't be the right girth for your horse, wouldn't it? I think the best way to explain it is by thinking, what's the girth for? The girth on the saddle is kind of like the chin strap on your helmet. Yes, your riding helmet. If your riding helmet fits properly, you would never take that chin strap and tighten it super tight, because you would block your TMJ, you can't chew, you can't breathe properly, and you would be very uncomfortable and stiff. The horse actually feels that. So how tight or loose should be that chin strap? It should be tight enough if there's a jerky reaction or you actually happen to fall off the horse, that momentum doesn't throw your helmet off first before you land on your head. Hopefully not, but if that happens, the chin strap holds your helmet in spot, right? So if it's too loose, the helmet flies off. What's the point of having a helmet if that's the case? So with the girth, it's exactly the same thing. If your saddle fits correctly, your girth should only be in place when you take that big jump over the fence, that fast turn around the barrel if you're a Western rider, or if you're an endurance rider, goes up the hill and very steep down the hill. So for extreme cases, when the horse does a quick movement, it kept the saddle in place. Not for the normal everyday to ride, not for if you don't have the momentum where the horse does this fast movements. Okay, the girth needs to be snug, not swinging underneath, and not super tight. Unfortunately, because the girth comes in so many different shapes, with, as I said, with or without elastic, we sometimes get led in the wrong way by marketing telling us, oh, this girth stops your saddle from going forward. It actually releases the shoulder, and then you have more shoulder freedom. It's kind of like you said, with this chin strap on your helmet, you becoming an Einstein, and you becomes really smart and you can ride wonderful. That had nothing to do with the chin strap on your helmet. You're either smart, you either ride good or not, period. And that's the same with the girth. The girth has one purpose, to keep the saddle in position and fast position. So it's fast movement of the horse. So why do people fall for it? Well, marketing, sponsorship, I mentioned that earlier. Give you an example. If you would be a jogger, and would you take an elastic band around your chest, and you make that elastic band not too loose, not too tight, just tight. So every time you inhale, you can say, wow, look how strong I am. I can actually stretch that elastic. And every time you exhale, your air goes out, the elastic gets tight. So now you start jogging. Guess what your small brain tells your big brain? Hey, don't exhale and inhale so deep. It takes too much energy than needed to run that race. So what you actually do, you start to breathe flat. Your timing is off, your steps are shorter, you have the worst run of your life. Why? Because you start to breathe flat. You don't use the muscle, the full volume of your lungs, because you don't waste the energy constantly stretch that elastic. The exact same thing. The exact same thing happens to the horse. So if you think you're doing something nice by buying a girth what has too long elastic on the end or full size elastic, you completely reverse what you're trying to do. It's even worse. See, we humans are hunters, predators. Animals like horses are prey, and they're always in fear. Well, hopefully not always in fear, but they're prey animals. Okay, so they need to have the feeling, can I run away from my enemy? So if I have a feeling I got something strapped around my body, every time I exhale, I got to inhale, I start to breathe flat, and I breathe higher, and all of a sudden I create stress. And by artificial heart increase, human or horse, we will have cortisol level in our blood. And that's how we know if a person or a horse is in stress. Now with humans, go get a pill, get a doctor, get whatever treatment. With horses, we sometimes don't recognize it, or we sometimes don't do anything about it. So how does a horse deal with that? The horse deals with that by gut ulcer, stomach ulcer, or colic. From a girth? No, from stress. So if you have a girth on, what hits reflex points on the horse's body, which you of course all learned in our Saddlefit for Life essentials, or even in the large course of the equine ergonomist course, you know where these reflex points are. So if the girth has the wrong length, bing, you hit one of those reflex points, and the horse increases the heart beat. If you have a girth that has too much elastic, boom, same thing. So why elastic in the first place? Don't get it. How much elastic you got on your shin strap? Think about that with the helmet. There's no elastic. The only reason why there is elastic on the girth is because the circumference on the horse's body is narrower or smaller in the front than further back. Now on the Western girth, we only have one latigo, right? You have one billet going down, one circumference. So on the English saddle, you have two billets, one further forward, one further back. And what did I just say? Further forward, the circumference is smaller than further back. So every time you girth one side up, the front, now you said 1, 2, 3, you count the holes, and you got a brand new girth, a brand new saddle, everything is perfect, but the holes are feeling uneven. So you now make the billets even, you girth the saddle up, but the pressure's uneven. Now that's where the girth with elastic comes in, if it's the right length. I'm going to talk about this later. So the right length, the right girth shape, as well as the right length in the elastic is crucial. What else is important? The thickness of the girth. The thickness of the girth is how thick it is. So when I grab this girth right here, sometimes you see very soft padded girth and you say, wow, they're super cool. And you look how thick they are. Oh, they're so nice and padded. But if this is too thick, not widthwise, not this way, this way. Sometimes you have horses with a very tight elbow. Now, what does that mean? That means if I look at this horse here, this is the elbow, and that elbow goes back and forth when the horse moves. And between that elbow and that rib, that could be sometimes very tight. Often it's caused by, well, equipment such as the saddle, what doesn't fit properly, squishes the shoulders. And now the elbows are in, like I'm simulating here. And now if the elbow got to rub back and front on my side of my ribs and the girth is very thick, that might be a problem. So see how that all relates? So we got the elastic to think about it. We got the shape to think about it. We have to have different materials. One horse does not like leather. The other one does. Same with the materials such as synthetic, sheepskin. What's the best? We as humans are all individuals. So is the horse. All right. So the best, if you have to summarize and say, what's the best girth? The best girth is to distribute lots of weight-bearing surface on the sternum, on the bottom of the horse's chest, right here. That's the sternum. So if I flip the horse sideways, right there. Now, as I said earlier, if the horse has a small girth groove where my finger is, you might want to saddle with a girth what is not as wide. Okay, so you're looking at a girth what's maybe 5 inches. This here is a very old common girth, very, very popular. Look how wide that girth is. And you see there's no elastic on it. And it's designed so when you push on it, you see how the sides curl in? Why is that? Because on anything, when you have tension between two fixed ends, let me demonstrate that with a tape. So if I have a tape here and I push, the pressure is between my two fists. Whatever shape I put in front of the tape on the bottom or the back, the top or the back, so let's say here's a girth, okay? You can see the middle is wider than the girth width. that means the end of this girth would be not as firm and weight-bearing surface as on the sternum. Now, where this girth is designed, where they make the strings shorter. So when it's girthed on, they put weight-bearing surface pressure distribution on the outside as well. So very clever. So say, oh, this is the best girth ever. Well, you might have a horse who doesn't like that material, right? So elastic is a huge concern. I can't tell you how many girths are there only on one side elastic. Makes absolutely no sense. It's kind of like you have a pair of pants on, where in one leg you have that stretchy material, you can sit down, you can stand, walk with this, and the other one is a very stiff jean material. Why would you do that? So it feels different when you walk, when you sit down. Why would you do that on the girth? Why would you ever have elastic only on one side? Oh, it's easier to girth up. Is it really just for us? Or does that impact the horses, how the horse feels? Okay, so why would you only have one side where it gives and take? Right? Or causes a problem if the girth is too long. So keep it symmetric in the shape as well as elastic, and never, never, never have the elastic longer, like I demonstrate here. That's no more than 3 inches. Make sure it has 3 ply, 1, 2, 3 different. And a good test is, if you have a girth with elastic, both sides, see if you can pull it. So what I'm doing, I'm holding the girth, and now I'm pulling it. Oh, God, I thought I was strong, but I feel weak pulling this because I barely can pull it. But if you put a billet through it from your saddle, because this is like a pulley action, you will see how this can give easily. A girth elastic is only meant to take the uneven pressure of the girth when you have a saddle with 2 or 3 billets, because the circumference is different on the horse's rib cage when you go further forward or further back. Just judge yourself. You can clearly see the ribs are wider further back, and so further forward you go, so narrow it gets. So if my billets, my fingers simulate the billets of the saddle, the circumference on the middle finger is less than on the index finger. And that's really what this is all about with the elastic. Now, I don't want to make this too long, going on the girth elastic all the time. I want to really think about, what material does my horse like? Where is this girth groove? How wide is this girth groove? And then, do I really need elastic? Yes or no? If you can get away without it, good. If not, because it's easier or because the horse is pie-shaped, whatever, okay, then elastic, but please both sides. So, brings me to another point, which is the cleaning. The cleaning of the girth is a huge, huge concern, because sometimes people have horses what have huge girth galls, girth soreness, or they have problems where they react to it. It's not the material, it's how you clean it. Now that's the webinar I will do for you guys, just how to clean the girth properly in the saddle and how you can avoid a lot of girth irritation and problems. That makes this webinar way too long if I add this in here. But what I can give you a tip is, when you have problems with your saddle, don't fix it with your strap, with your girth, okay? If your helmet is sitting off your head too high, are you going to tighten your your chin strap? If your helmet is too big, falls on your eyes, sits crooked, are you tightening your chin strap? Never, right? So long you remember, what's the purpose for it? How long does it have to be? Shape, thickness? Then you will see how easy it is actually to pick a girth. Why do I make such a big fuss then about this? Why do I even talk about this to you? Because often we get led down a path. Deep in our guts, it's not right, but so-and-so rides in this girth. So-and-so said this is the best girth for every horse in the world. What a bunch of nonsense that is, right? So in the end of the day, the horse has individual conformation. The horse feels what feels right, and it's a flight animal. So to summarize this up, keep it simple. A girth is there to keep the saddle in position when the horse does quick jumpy moves to the side. It should breathe, it should be kept clean, and it should have the right length and the right shape. Now, sometimes I wish the time can stand still, because there is so much more I like to talk about the girth without pushing one product over the other product. I really want you to think outside the box. And this is what we specialize when we teach you all about this in one of our saddle fitting courses. At Saddlefit for Life, we base stuff on science. It's evidence-based, and I have measured over 250,000 horses worldwide. It is so important to me that everybody out there understands how much value you can give the horses when you do something what doesn't hurt them, something what actually works for you and the horse. So if you like what you heard today, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button or click the notification bell. Or if you say, hey, this is really cool and I'd like to learn more, or I want to ask a couple more questions, we have excellent trainers at the Saddlefit for Life. So just contact us at Saddlefit for Life and one of our trainers will be there. So thanks again for listening to my talk on the girth. Until next video, talk soon. Talk soon.